What is it, DJ Khaled?
Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one.
Morning, everyone. Or afternoon, or whenever you watch it, as I've said before. I don't know, whenever you make this a part of your daily routine, but I'm just grateful that you do. So, it is pretty cold down here. It's starting to get annoying now. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I go to class in the morning, and on Mondays and Wednesdays, I go to class in the afternoon. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's pretty cold. When I take Drew out in the morning, this morning it was 29 degrees. So I would say that that's cold. I don't think that even people from Pennsylvania would say that that's cold. So it sucks. It's becoming that time of year where it's cold and it also gets dark at like 5 p.m. But apparently it's changing and I don't have to worry about that anymore. So I will take it. But in the mornings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have to be pretty good with timing of things, and I have to be on time when I wake up. I can't snooze a bunch, and so what I have to do is I have to tell Siri, hey, set a timer for this many minutes, and then that's how I know, okay, that's as long as a shower I can take. And whenever I take Drew outside, I have to set a timer so I know how long I can walk him, because I can't be late for class. So I thought about it this morning, and it kind of blew my mind. So I don't know if it's gonna blow your mind, but if I ask Siri a question in another language, will she answer in that language? Will she immediately know, since technically she's a machine and not technically, she is a machine, and she knows it. It's not like she needs to learn the language. It's already programmed into her. And then it got me thinking, well, whenever you set your phone up, is it a software decision? Does something happen whenever you go through setting your phone up and it asks you what is your primary language? And if you select Chinese, then does Siri somehow get programmed to speak Chinese to you or answer things in Chinese, or her speech is Chinese? Can I set Siri to understand multiple languages? I don't understand technology very well. If someone explains it to me, I always just nod. It's the same way whenever Bitcoin was a thing and people were people are mining. There are computers that are mining Bitcoin. That's why it can just continuously grow and there's more of it. And it just didn't make sense to me. They were it's all in the sphere of technology in the world, the cloud and mining. It all exists already. We're just getting more of it. And I just didn't understand. I can't comprehend essentially infinity. They're saying that there's an infinite amount. We're just continuously coding it to make it a thing. So I don't get software. People say it's just ones and zeros. Well, ones and zeros don't mean anything unless you know what the ones and zeros mean, if that makes any sense. So I don't know if I could ask Siri a question in another language that's not English, if she would respond in that language, or if she would just give me the response in the language I have my phone programmed in, which in that case, that's cool because she's hearing it. It's hearing what I'm asking in one language, and it's giving me the response in the language that I've selected for it to. So that would be cool. But I use the Australian Siri right now because this person just cut in front of me from the other lane. It's a red light and you can turn on it, and now they're stopped going straight. This is the type of stuff that I don't like. You could have just stayed in the lane, let me turn. You're one car ahead. It's not like you're getting that much further ahead. So that's the type of stuff that I hate. Anyway, I have the Australian Siri because I think that the Australian accent is the most interesting of the English, this English speaking accents. My sister watches Below Deck, and I just think it's hilarious whenever they start like yelling at each other or getting frustrated or whatever, because just when they start talking fast and they're nar or like oh nar, like it's funny to me. I don't know. So I tell Siri all the time, like set a timer for 29 minutes and 52 seconds, because I just try and give her the most prompts that she'll respond in with the most syllables, because I think that hearing like the Australian syllables, to me it's funny. That might be offensive if you're an Australian viewer, listener, watcher. I think that your accent is interesting and I want to hear it all the time. That's why I have Siri programmed to that. So if you want to say words for me that you guys typically have trouble saying, or people say you say interestingly, I'll listen to it. You can just send it right to me, and I'll listen to it, and then I'll probably ask you to record more and send them, because I just love asking Siri to say certain things, and I think it's funny. But anyway, beside the point, if you know the answer to me asking Siri a question in a different language, and if she'll get back to me, her response will be in that language or in the language I program my phone in, I would love to know more about that. If you work for Apple and you're a software developer or whatever that position will be called that programs Siri, let me know, link it, or send me something that you do at work. I'll sign an NDA if I have to, but I would just love to know, because that kind of stuff is really interesting to me, even if I don't understand it. I really like it. But I also had another thought. This thought occurred to me a couple days ago over the weekend while I was walking Drew. Dogs, everyone knows. If you don't have a dog, you might not know this, but Drew at least he goes to the bathroom in like the same place, around the same place. Like when we go walking on the trail, he'll stop at like the same place every single time, the way there and the way back. And it got me thinking, has anyone ever stood with their feet in the exact same spot on Earth twice in their life? I mean, I say twice because I don't think anyone's ever done it twice. If you're someone that says like the first thing that I thought of was like when you go to the bathroom, have your feet ever been in the exact same spot twice, a second time? Like you stood, if I stopped right now, got out of the car, put my feet down, walked a step forward, and tried to put my feet down in the exact same spot I was just standing in, could I? I don't think that anyone has ever stood in the same spot 2 times. I just don't think that it's possible. The Earth moves, like the amount of precision you would have to stand in the same, it blew my mind. Like the thing that always, when it circulates on social media or like in physics or whatever, is like your hands never really touch. You never really touch anything, because like they say, if you cut the distance in half between your hands and then cut it in half again and again and again and again, you would never touch. Well, that's exactly what you're doing when you clap or you like hit something. You're just cutting the distance in half an infinite amount of times. You're never actually touching, because there are always atoms in between your hands, or in between my hand and the steering wheel, in between my hand and the microphone. The only thing that's allowing me to hold the microphone without it falling is friction. That the friction is so strong that it's not slipping out of my hands. That one always blows my mind. That was just something for free. I wasn't thinking about that. I just love that because it's an interesting scientific fact that people tend to forget sometimes. But the one that I'm really interested in about, if you know that it's possible to stand in the exact same spot without, I mean, I guess you could measure it, but is there a scientific, like the Earth rotates at this speed and this many degrees every single day, and in order to go back and stand in that exact same spot, you would have to account for all this movement? I don't know. It's hurting my brain, so we're at a red light. So I'll give you guys a break from the scientific talk. That was okay one. I took too long with it. I was trying to see if I could get a really good crack, but I am noticing though that when it's colder out, that the can is staying colder, and there's more science, and I'm sorry, but I think the pressure makes it a better open. So when it gets hot out again and when it's warm out, we'll test that theory and see if the open is still just as good whenever it's cold and the pressure and all of that. But tangerine today. I'm running low. So tomorrow I need to run some errands. Drew needs more food. I need to return some things to Costco that I just wasn't really pleased with. I got new toothbrush bristles, and I just didn't like them, and so I need to return those. I need to go get a new shower water filter. So I got some errands to do tomorrow. I'll get more drinks, so hopefully some new flavors I can find somewhere, so they're not all the same. But I was talking with someone in my program. She works at TCU, and she's in some of my classes, and she was telling me more science. And I'm sorry, but this guy just popped in my head last night because I saw something, people were talking about it on a YouTube video I was watching, and there's a guy named Alan Meeker. Look him up. After I tell you a little bit about him, you're going to want to look him up. His name is Alan Meeker. I don't know what his company's name is, but he's located here in like Dallas, Fort Worth. I'm not sure what city exactly. I think it's Fort Worth, but he's been in Houston and other cities and stuff. But he's famous for cloning polo horses. So if you don't know what polo is, it's basically like a mix between, I would say it's a mix between lacrosse and croquet, except you just ride horses while doing it. You ride horses and you swing mallets at balls and you try and get them, I guess, in goals or through a designated spot on the ground, whatever. It's a very intense sport, and it's one where the horses actually matter, just like racing and horse racing. Like the horses breed and all their lineage and everything matters. Well, this guy, Alan Meeker, he must be a genius, and he figured out how to clone horses. I don't know the process. There's very little public knowledge you can find on it for him specifically, but cloning, I guess you can find more information on. But anyway, he takes DNA and genomes and all of the things that you need to clone, I guess, from these like prized polo horses, and he legitimately makes a clone of them, like down to the spot on their nose, the hair length, everything is the same. Like there are pictures online you can see of him with these horses, and the one is the real, it was born and bred from another horse and like a natural horse birth, and then the other one is the clone, and you can't tell which one is which because they look exactly the same. And so it gets a little bit more interesting. She was telling me this story, and then I started going down the rabbit hole of his life and just things that he's been associated with. Well, she said that, and this is a story coming from someone else that came from someone else, so I guess it's not really my story to tell, but I'm going to tell it anyway because that's how it works. She said that she had a friend who used to do interior designing. I'm pretty sure. I think that's the scenario. And she went to his house to help her like design it. And my friend went with her friend to his house to help design it, I guess. Anyway, and as they were there, here's a quick question for you guys. If you're coming up on a stoplight and the car in front of you is at the very end of where if you would stop, you'd be blocking off the intersection. Do you stop, or do you just sit in the intersection and block everyone from being able to go through you? That was something that I learned later on in my driving life, that you're not supposed to sit in the middle and block everyone off, that you're supposed to stop before the intersection so the cars can get through you. So there's a tidbit if you are a young driver, or you're someone that just doesn't pay attention while you drive. If you're coming up on like the dotted lines, you're not supposed to stop in the middle of them so that people can go across. Anyway, they went to his house, and her friend saw a dog like walking around, and she said to the friend that I have that that's not his real like original dog, that it's a clone of the dog he used to have. And it got me thinking, that, like, does he just clone? Like, what else does he clone? Can he just clone, like, it can't just stop with horses. I mean, clearly he's done it with a dog. I guess either he told her that, or she figured it out, or there was an article written or something about it. But then I started digging a little bit deeper, and it gets weird in the sense that there are some speculations that I made that could be true, could not be true. Well, I started looking around a little bit, and he has children. And I looked, found his Facebook page, and he has 2 sons. And you're probably already knowing where I'm headed with this, but they're twins. And they look exactly the same. I mean, the most identical twins I've ever seen, down to like the way their hair falls, like everything about their faces are the same. It is their height. They are exactly the same height. Like, there are pictures of them that they're exactly the same height. Their arms fall at the exact same spot on their, like, I went deep into this. You can call me a freak. I don't care. But I was so fascinated with this because what, like, is that happening? Are those kids really twins, or did he have one kid and he just cloned it and then it just, now he has twins? Or did he just take his own DNA and make 2 kids? I see, this is the thing, is I'm not much of a, that's a lie. I do like conspiracy theories. Ones that don't involve like crazy ideas. Like, I'm not a Bush did 9/11 conspiracy theorist, that kind of stuff. Those ones are a little bit far-fetched for me. But things like this, where it's like there's something shady going on, it's a little bit like weird. I would love to get to the bottom of this. So go ahead, do your own deep dive. His name is Alan Meeker, AlanMeeker, and you can start looking around and see what you find. See if you find anything. He's been involved in some lawsuits that apparently the people that he's cloned their horses didn't give him permission to clone certain horses, and he ended up cloning them, and then he was allowed to keep the original for further science use or whatever, and they didn't like that. He ended up winning all of them, so I don't know if he's really rich or if he really was just reading all of the contracts correctly and everything. But it's a very interesting thing to think about, and there's a lot to uncover, and I want to be someone that uncovers a little bit more, because I, for one, think that those kids are clones, whether they're clones of each other or whether they're his clones that he just made. I don't know, but it's interesting to think about. But it's almost the end of the week. Well, I guess when you watch this, it'll be Friday. I'm going to try and get a couple videos filmed this weekend so that I have stuff to put out next week. Since it's Thanksgiving break, I would love to relax and not have a lot of work to do for school. I have a couple things I have to finish, a couple things I have to grade. But I hope you guys have a great Friday. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope that your weekend is filled with a lot of fun things. I'm going to be working a couple days. TCU plays Baylor on Saturday morning, so I'll be watching that. I hope you guys have a great day. I know I already said that, but I really do mean it. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being a part of this journey. Share the video with your friends. I love hearing feedback from you guys, so the comments are greatly appreciated. I am going to be trying to post on TikTok a little bit more, just to give you guys recaps of certain topics that I think were really funny, or I could condense them a little bit because I sometimes ramble on topics that people don't really find that interesting. So have a good day. For the 3rd time, everyone knows how these end. Stay warm out there. It's getting cold. Make sure that you don't let the 5 o'clock darkness get to you. There are better days ahead. And in the spring, we won't ever have to worry about it getting dark at 5 p.m. ever again. I love you guys. See ya.